Sudden smoky conditions over Fargo are being attributed to a controlled burn in Wilkin County, Minnesota. We drove out to that fire about 7 miles from Breckenridge, Minnesota. Emergency managers tell us a large controlled grass fire started earlier in the day. A local farmer we spoke with says his neighbor started it under what he called perfect conditions. But as the wind picked up, he says it was not ideal for burning. The neighbor says it's common practice for farmers to burn their field after a cold, wet fall leaves the ground too frozen to till it. Most of the northern half of Minnesota was put under very high fire danger today, including a red flag warning issued by the National Weather Service for Polk, Kittson, Roseau, Lake of the Woods, Marshall, Beltrami, Pennington, Red Lake, Clearwater, and Koochiching counties. A red flag warning means the area has weather conditions that are ideal for wildfire, in this case, dry and windy. So officials say do not burn while the red flag warning is in effect, and check any burning done recently to make sure the fire is out, because any spark could become a wildfire under red flag conditions. The red flag warning expires at 8 o'clock tonight. And if you take a look through our Skycam, you can see a hazy view over the city of Fargo. Other than that, it's still hot, still quiet out there. Hutch, a nice evening ahead of us?
Well, it does look nice for the vast majority of us. Our wind will continue, and there is a visual look at that red flag warning, mainly along and north of Highway 2 for most of our counties. As the fire burned, visible satellite image, this is 1/2 kilometer resolution. You can see the plume of smoke emanating from the Wilkin County area. It passed over and through Fargo around the midday hour after the fire started sometime in the 9 o'clock hour of the morning. Now, I think that's long gone, and we are high and dry as far as temperatures are concerned. A few thunder showers near Winnipeg could skirt our far northern counties as we go toward the late evening hour. Our wind continues from the south for most, gusting to almost 30 miles per hour across the Valley City area into northwest Minnesota. Temperatures this evening slipping into the 60s. It does not look as cold, but we should, for the most part, stay quiet and dry. Perfect to get out, but if you're doing any burning at all, be extra cautious. Rain is on the way. I'll have details here in a few moments.
Okay, thanks, Hutch.
We heard a boom, a loud crash, and we came around to see a vehicle, a taxi cab, pushing a brand new vehicle through a detention basin.
It was a bizarre crash in the parking lot of the Corwin Collision Center in Fargo. Witnesses say a man driving a taxi van rammed through the parking lot of the dealership. Some say it was nearly 50 miles per hour. He plowed into a new car, and then guess what? A salesman was inside, but the van kept going. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer joins us live now with more details on what happened. Melanie?
Andrea, it all happened in this parking lot just behind me right before noon today. Witnesses tell us they saw a man driving a taxi van blow through a red light at the intersection of 42nd and Main, and it somehow ended up right here. In fact, you can still see some debris and car parts from where the crash happened. And when that accident happened, a number of associates here said that they wanted to help.
Dang near almost hit me and my coworker that were leaving for lunch, turning left, and blew past the stoplight right there, just woof right through, and holy smoke.
Aaron Lastly has worked at the Corwin Collision Center for about 7 years now, and he tells us he's never seen anything quite like this.
Hit him about right here, and then just parts went flying everywhere, and then it spun him kind of sideways and down in the ditch there, and he just barely missed that pole back there.
When he heard the loud crash, he says instinct kicked in.
I whipped a Huey and hurried up and made sure the guy and my salesman was okay first, and then ran over to the taxi cab and tried to get the guy's seatbelt off because I didn't know it was going to start on fire, and just kind of a scary deal.
And he tells us the driver of the taxi just didn't seem right.
Just very out of it, and he was mumbling and wasn't saying many words.
Jesse Riley was also at Corwin's, but he was checking out some new rides, and he says it was quite a sight.
The vehicle continued to drive forward till it almost went on the railroad tracks.
And believe it or not, no one needed to be taken to the hospital. An officer on scene told us that he believes all injuries were minor, but he could not confirm with us what caused that taxi driver to go through the light into this parking lot and crash into that car with someone inside. Andrea?
All right, thank you, Melanie, for that live report. And as you can imagine, the new car that was hit was totaled. A Fargo man is in jail after pointing a gun at a random car passing by in the metro. Police say it happened yesterday in North Fargo around 4th Street and 6th Avenue. The victim says they were driving by when two people started yelling at their vehicle. The situation escalated and a gun eventually came out. A short time after the call, police arrested 26-year-old Maverick Ray Harold. He's being held on charges of terrorizing, giving false information to law enforcement, and 2 local warrants. A Fargo man will spend a year in prison and 2 years on probation for threatening North Dakota U.S. Senator Heidi Heitkamp. Kevin Olson was convicted of sending an email to Heitkamp's office in December 2016, threatening to shoot her in the head. Court documents show that Olson admitted he sent the email, but refused to answer questions about it. The threat brought U.S. Capitol Police to Fargo in January of 2017. The Red River SWAT team was called in to help execute a search warrant at Olson's home in the 1600 block of 51st Street South. Authorities say a driver fell asleep at the wheel and was hurt when his car hit 2 guardrails and ended up on its side in a ditch. The crash happened earlier today near the Davenport exit, 7 miles south of Fargo. The driver was taken to a hospital. There's no word yet on the condition. No day is the same when you're chief of the St. Paul Police Department. Just ask Todd Axtell, who took a few moments between breakfast and his first meeting of the day to help save a life. Chief Axtell was in his car when he heard a radio transmission about a woman who was up on the rails of the Robert Street Bridge and was ready to jump, likely to her death. Axtell realized he was just 2 blocks from the location and changed his course. When the chief arrived on scene, a couple officers were already with the distraught woman, one of them trying to talk her into coming down. The tape shows them grabbing the woman quickly and firmly, pulling her gently to the sidewalk and to safety. Big delays are expected on Interstate 94 this week as construction gets underway in West Fargo. The I-94 and Cheyenne Street interchange reconstruction project gets started this Thursday. One bridge will be shut down, causing traffic to go head-to-head. Eventually, cars driving westbound on I-94 will see the southbound loop closed, causing all traffic to take the same exit. The project will take 2 years and costs just over $19 million. Main Avenue construction is also underway. Drivers will see slowing speeds and detours in the area. A solemn ceremony, a day of remembrance across the nation and in Fargo. It is Peace Officers Memorial Day. Ceremonies marking the day and honoring officers who died in the line of duty, soldiers in the war against crime. Across the nation, 129 last year alone, more than 50 already this year. Among them, Rolette County Deputy Colt Allery. He was shot and killed while trying to stop a man accused of stealing a pickup near Rolette in northeastern North Dakota. His name now joins 21,000 others on the National Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C., and his sacrifice and those of the others marked by his brothers and sisters in arms here.
As we remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice this week, we also honor every person wearing the badge today and who has raised their hand knowing the inherent dangers of this job in order to make this metro a safer place to live. You live your lives ensuring evil is replaced with good in this world, and you ensure our safety and freedom never go away. For that, I thank you and I commend you.
Peace Officers Memorial Day is marked every May 15th. It was created by Congress and signed into law 56 years ago. The city of Moorhead is looking for a new police chief. David Ebbinger announced that he is retiring at the end of July. Ebbinger has been the city's top cop since coming to Moorhead in 2006. In a Facebook post, Ebbinger says he's bringing things to a close for the next phase and that it's been a great ride. He recently marked 40 years in law enforcement, which included Little Rock, Arkansas, before Moorhead. A Moorhead official told us they hope to have someone in place as soon as possible. First Lady Melania Trump is recovering from surgery she had yesterday and could be coming home sooner than expected. The White House originally said the First Lady would be in the hospital for a week. But this morning, President Trump tweeted, "Our great First Lady is doing really well. We'll be leaving hospital in 2 or 3 days. Thank you for so much love and support." The First Lady underwent what's called embolization procedure to treat a benign kidney condition. Minnesotans are remembering a former Twins player, manager, and broadcaster after Frank Quillisi died Monday. He turned 79 on Friday. Quillacy was a member of the 1965 American League Championship team that lost to the LA Dodgers in the World Series. Quillacy also played for the Twins from 1967 to 1970, was then manager from 1972 to 1975, and later did Twins radio broadcasts. He leaves behind his second wife and 4 children.